So many cases, men are typically told that they're being too cautious around dealing with female co-workers. They're basically making a big deal out of nothing, right? But I want to talk you through some instances where men do get falsely accused, and the whole believe all woman can really backfire, and men are typically treated like second-class citizens when it comes to dealing with this type of negative conduct, right? So let's think about believe all woman, which was something that became quite popular in the last few years around how men are treated when a woman accuses them. First case I want to talk you through is a Duke Lacrosse team, right? This woman falsely accused a lacrosse team of raping her and taking advantage of her in 2006, and now, in more recent years, she admits that she was lying. So we've got this headline here: Crystal Magnum, who accused them, now says she lied, and she regrets the fact that she lied. So if we go back here, let's go through this in a bit of detail, right? She essentially accused 3 lacrosse team players of attacking her and saying it's partly racially motivated without any proof. These 3 men were accused because of the believe all woman narrative. The coach was fired too. So I don't know how the coach at the particular lacrosse team was involved. He wasn't involved, but they said he was negligent, I guess, as a leader, as an adult in that scenario. So apparently he had done something wrong too. So the testimony continued to change what she said. There's many contradictions. Later she admitted to lying. The case was dropped. And she already ruined their reputation and ruined their lives because they already have a negative grey cloud hanging across their head. And when it comes to company background checks, of course, if they're going for jobs, I'm sure their names will be linked to this negative news story on the media, and it would impact their ability to make money. But they effectively face no consequences. She faced no consequences, and you can see her here, right? She faced no consequences for this. She just said she felt sorry, and then it's ridiculous that people have to forgive her and act like she's still the victim somehow. So what is the lesson from this? Avoid unnecessary risks that can occur with random women outside of work, because even baseless accusations can really cause irreparable harm to your career. Now, the second case is around Lauren Emily Pearson. This is a college athlete who was arrested for, a college athlete was arrested for attacking her, but he said it wasn't him. He didn't do anything wrong, right? So what ended up happening here, she accused a man of taking advantage of her, and then the details fell apart as police were investigating her. So what ended up happening is she got charged with logging a false police report. She was actually wasting police time. The man ended up spending several days in prison. He needed bailout money and he was banned from his college. Now, the lesson here is always prioritize clear boundaries, right? Document interactions when possible and exercise cautions in social settings. If you meet a female co-worker at a party or something like that, be careful. Remember, these false allegations, even when they're disproved, can really impact your personal, financial, and professional consequences, right? So you could end up in jail for a few days, and then that could impact your ability to do your job. And then how are you going to tell your company that you're in jail for a week on the basis of a false allegation or based on some woman you met on the weekend because she accused you of something until it's found that you're innocent? That's still going to impact your reputation. Your family and friends might be judging you for engaging in interaction with a woman when you're meant to keep that private to yourself, for example. Then we have Nikki Yovino. She was convicted of a false claim and was denied early end to her probation. In this case, Nikki was part of a fake campus accusation train, saying that 2 men had accused her, had attacked her at college, and she was accusing them, and then this was exposed later. It shows she was doing this for sympathy and attention. The football players lost their scholarships. These men were kind of pushed out their school. She was punished by the judge with a year in prison. So that's a rare case of a woman being held accountable for lying against men with false allegations. It's important to be vigilant about these type of company you keep around, the environment you're engaging in, because even if it's disproven later, it can really damage your reputation, right? So this is the key thing to be aware of. As it says here, lesson 3, be mindful of your surroundings, what type of people you're dealing with. People you're interacting with, they don't necessarily have the same morals or values you have. They might see you as an easy target. So just bear that in mind, right? You don't want to be a high value target, to quote Coach Greg Adams, where if you're a high value man, maybe you have money, you have social status, a woman might see you as someone they can easily make a quick buck out of, right? So be careful of your surroundings and actions. Make sure your actions can withstand scrutiny through your having a strong reputation, having text messages and things like that. And make sure that doesn't impact your ability to pursue future opportunities. Now, when you put all of that together, it really raises the question, the workplace has kind of changed, right? Now, What does this mean, right? So rare wins do exist. And when I mean rare wins, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about how you can be working at a company and all of a sudden there's a change in the power structure. So we saw this with Elon Musk when he took over Twitter, and you can see again what type of demographics are giving you back your freedom of speech versus which demographics took it from you, right? So you can see what Twitter was mainly populated, the type of employees on the left versus the right. On the right, you have the big chungus coders. Not all heroes wear capes. These guys on the right, they help provide back freedom of speech, and really Twitter is the main platform for freedom of speech. Even YouTube has more restrictions than other platforms too. But then on the left, who do we have? The similar demographic, left-leaning, feminist, liberal, affluent white liberal, that type of demographic. They took away your freedom of speech. So I see a lot of debates going on right now about, as I mentioned, other contentious issues, migrant workers, things like that. But you've got to really think, who's really limiting your freedom and freedom of speech on a day-to-day basis? It's more the left than the right, and the left is never held accountable. I want you to bear in mind, because in many cases you're working with co-workers, as you can see on the left, the people who took your freedom of speech away in this tweet that has 2.5 million views right now. It's really something to bear in mind and make sure you're not being taken advantage of, and what type of people are really plotting against you on a daily basis. So that's the first thing to note, right? The workplace has changed and there are small wins that do occur. I don't want to say it's all a negative outcome, right? But also you've got this type of victim and villain narrative. And this is something you constantly have to deal with if you're a man in the workplace, where a woman can easily play the victim and then all of a sudden that's used as leverage against you. So, and then you can be painted as the villain just simply because you're a man, and the narrative of the current society determines that's particularly perfectly normal to be accusing you for that, right? Now, the feminist monopoly on culture and education, I don't think that's going to go away. You're not going to see a massive pushback against that. You're going to see slight little compromises they're going to make. They still have a monopoly on how culture works, and like I say, you can still be accused of work today and tomorrow, even if there's a slight change and pushback against that. Now, women in the workplace empowerment won't be stopped, right? This is part of the depopulation agenda, right? This establishment, I'm sure you've seen that famous statistic, 45% of women will be single by 2030. They're going to be focused on their career, being consumers, things like that. And their system has a long-term game plan to have less people having kids. They want to reduce the global population. They have all these narratives and all these biased laws to help that be enforced, whether it's censorship, less relationships between men and women, higher divorce rate, higher living cost. All these things effectively result in one thing: less people having kids and depopulating the world. So that agenda is not going to stop. Maybe they'll soften the stance a bit because it's convenient for the next couple of years, because maybe Trump's in power or men are fed up with society, but longer term the depopulation agenda won't be stopped. And the system is going to continue to treat the workplace like adult daycare. It's all about creating a safe and comfortable work environment for normies, NPCs, putting women in the workplace, even if it does compromise productivity to a certain extent. And then also you have student debt and dead-end careerism. This is still going to impact. You're going to have a lot of female co-workers who might have student debt. If you're in a relationship with them, you might be expected to contribute to paying off their debt. You might have more of a financial burden on yourself as a man in a relationship with a woman, even if you have gender equality in 50-50 relationships. You might still be more, the financial burden will be on you. You're going to have loads of women and other co-workers in general who have dead-end careerism, and which means that basically they'll be stuck in a dead-end career. It's not this glamorous Sex in the City lifestyle that they thought they'd have, so they'll play the victim. They want to lash out against you as a man because you're maybe more stoic in dealing with a difficult reality like this, and they want to attack you. Then you have co-workers, right? Now the question is, what percentage of co-workers are radicalized? Are they radicalized by feminism, leftist policies, socialism, woke culture, censorship, things like that? It's very difficult to tell because people might hide their opinions. You might know the general vibe. Maybe 30 to 50% of employees might be willing to accuse you or harm you or cancel you, but you never really know. So I would say my estimate is 30 to 50% of employees are like that. But not all of them are going to exploit that. They might just gossip about you or say negative things about you behind your back. When it comes to other instances, you might have people who might agree with you that cancel culture has gone too far, but they're not going to stick out their neck and risk their career by supporting you if you say something politically incorrect. There's more and more men practicing CYA. If you haven't heard of this term, it's common in the finance industry, and I'm sure other industries. Cover your ass, which basically means protect yourself from accusations. It could be protecting yourself from saying that your work isn't good quality by making sure you agree certain risky subject matter with multiple other team members in your management, so you're not going to be accused if something goes wrong in the future. Another aspect of CYA, covering your ass, protecting yourself, is just making sure you document your communications with female co-workers so you're not accused of anything. Now, there's lots of cognitive dissonance that does occur, right, when it comes to the future of the workplace, right? You have a lot of co-workers that, because they've been misled by the system, they might be in lots of student loan, they might be in as I mentioned earlier, with their student loans, with their mortgages, with a career that's kind of going nowhere. And with this cognitive dissonance, they might feel confused and betrayed, they lack accountability and responsibility, and they need someone to blame. So they might blame the patriarchy, even though it doesn't exist, or just blame male co-workers who might be more responsible with their fiscal management, their management, maybe being minimalists, being saving and investing, and they might kind of lash out and see you as a bad person because you've got better self-control and you're not stuck in the completely dysfunctional financial situation that many people are, due to not inflation but due to poor money management themselves. Then you've got gender relations. Now this is going to continue to decline. Family formations will continue to decline. You're going to have absent mothers. You're going to have lots of kids who are in daycare while women focus on their career. Childcare, daycare, all their brainwashing gender ideology, not really good quality education. You're going to see more and more dysfunction in this society as this type of environment continues. Then you could have other instances where you have definitions of what's offensive, problematic, toxic, assault, harassment. Anything could be deemed that. You could have psychological harassment if you made a joke that a woman felt uncomfortable about. So all these type of instances can occur. Then you have declining trust in this society, more isolated people, more people on guard, less friendly people. This is the ultimate outcome of how the workplace has changed when you do have a lot of cancel culture, woke culture and things like that in society. Then you have slower economic growth and productivity. So much time in the workplace is focused on people's feelings and emotions and not being productive. Then that's what you have. You have all this type of pointless team events, pointless fake family at work type of events, and you just have a general decline of a healthy society. Now, when family is replaced by careers, politics, education, and activism, because women want to focus on that maybe more than having families and communities, you have more of a decline in society, right? And you see it all the time. Every day, living standards are declining. And it's a bit like flogging a dead horse. This is what you're going to have to deal with as a man when you're at work, where this system, the company's narrative might say, oh, we need to have more women in leadership. There's too much male privilege, male patriarchy, white privilege, white fragility. It's like things that kind of don't exist, or they exist to a very limited extent, but they're flogging a dead horse. They've killed a horse. They've got rid of the patriarchy that they hate. It hasn't resulted in improved living standards, really, but they keep flogging it. They keep hitting the dead horse and saying, oh, we need to get rid of this bad thing, even though it doesn't exist and men are already dropping out of society. So I've worked in the finance industry for over a decade. I can help you navigate some of these tricky realities that you have to deal with, protecting yourself at work as a man, dealing with the reality that the workplace has really changed, and all the false allegations we went through, right? So we went through the lacrosse team player. We had a woman who accused a man at a college party, another woman who accused men at campus. These instances do occur at work, at school, at college, at university, all types of places. So you have to be on guard. And in terms of navigating this crazy type of workplace environment, I offer a career advice service, having worked in the finance industry for over a decade. Link in description if you want to speak with me directly. Let me know how you protect yourself at work in the comments section, and I'll be happy to respond and look through your comments. 2 recommended videos on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time.